name is Gadis Pratiwi. I'm a student at Monash University studying Applied Linguistics. So today I'm going to present about my research. It's about Intracultural Communication, and the concept of the word deaf. You might be wondering why it is important. What is intercultural communication, and why it is important? So, first of all, the purpose of my presentation and also my research is about to give awareness to hearing people, to us, about how to interact and how to address deaf people. Because, in Indonesia we have negative stigma towards deaf people, that they are less intellectual due to their deprivation of language development. But it needs to know that for deaf people, spoken language, Indonesian language, for them is second language, not the first language, because some people are born deaf, and it's just like us. For us, English is our second language, and for deaf people, even Bahasa Indonesia is their second language. And also, how to address deaf people. In Indonesia, there are a lot of terms of how to address deaf people, and we are going to talk about it. Now, about intercultural communication and intracultural communication. These two happen between two or more people in different cultures communication. The first, intercultural communication. Based on Gadis, it happens between people in different L1 or people in different first language. Communicate in a common language. For example, I'm from Indonesia, and I'm in Australia, and then I talk to Chinese using English. So English is our common language. English is our lingua franca. Also, we can also divide intercultural communication based on the collectivistic versus individualistic, and also high culture context and low culture context. So collectivistic is like Indonesia. It's really Indonesia. So we tend to go together in group, while individualistic is more like Western people. They tend to be really individual. And then high culture context and low culture context. Low culture context is Western people. So for example, they tend to be more direct, and as ASEAN, it's actually high culture context because we tend to be more pragmatic, indirect, and sometimes we have to guess what's the meaning behind the context or the sentence. And then we also have intracultural communication. Intra, divided based on language perspective and cultural perspective. In language perspective, it happens between the same L1 speakers. And also it happens between the same cultural identities and the same country. So, what do you think about deaf people and hearing people in Indonesia? So deaf people and hearing people in Indonesia actually they have like intracultural communication because we come from Indonesia, the same country. We have the same background culture. However, we might use different language and also first language acquisition. So what do you think is important? It is important because deaf people also have different culture. Now, about the concept deaf. You might have noticed why I use the capital D letter in the title and also the previous slide, because actually it is different. The deaf or tuli with small t or small t, actually it means the physical state of not hearing. However, deaf or tuli with a capital T, it refers to people with linguistic minority, and also it refers to cultural identity and people who use sign language. So it's totally different. And then we also have the word tunarungu in hearing impaired. In tunarungu in English like hearing impaired. So in Indonesia, hearing people actually use the word tunarungu more to refer deaf people or hearing impaired. And then we also have hard of hearing hearing. People who is hard of hearing means that they are not totally deaf. So it's like they have slight hearing loss. And now in Indonesia, about those actually deaf people most likely to be called as tuli or deaf than tunarungu. Why? So 6 out of 7 of my participants prefer to be called as deaf or tuli. He said, I personally prefer to be called a deaf. This is because I know the meaning and the history of myself. The term deaf with the capital T refers to a linguistic minority group that use sign language, while hearing impaired or tunarungu in terms of vocabulary meaning is associated with damaged, speechless, and abnormal hearing condition. Some consider it a disease that needs to be checked given hearing aids, installed cochlear implant, and other therapies. So it can be like other normal people. I do not feel like my condition is a deficiency. I feel normal. I don't need mercy, rely on others begging, and more. So we can highlight that being deaf is their culture, is that they are really proud as being a deaf people. However, one of my participants prefer to be called as difabel. I prefer to be called difabel because it has a positive connotation. Well, deaf, actually, it is clear that Indonesian society culture, hearing people like us, it has the negative connotation. Then tunarungu has a negative connotation, and tuna means lost and lack, so difabel, the acronym of different ability people, and rungu, which means hear or hearing, is a better term. Difabel rungu is an individual who hear in a different way. Now, is deafness even a disability? What do you think? So based on Harris' research, there are two dichotomies between hearing people and deaf people. So hearing people tend to think that deaf people is not a whole, that they need to have hearing impaired, they need to have cochlear implant to hear like us, so that they can be normal people. While deaf people think that it's their culture, it's because they have their own language. They look normal like us because they are physically fine. So they actually think that they are not disabled people. One of my participants said that deaf people are not included as a disabled person. Deaf people is as normal as hearing people physically, but they have a different language. So deaf people have sign language while hearing people have spoken language. People who are visually impaired and physically impaired can communicate easily with hearing people using spoken language. So he inferred that another disability, like physical disability or visual disability, they are disabled people. However, some of deaf people think that they are not disabled because they have their own language, their own culture. They are as normal like us, and they can do everything they want to except hearing. Now, for a better Indonesia, now you know that deaf people have their own culture. Deaf people have sign language. Deaf people in Indonesia want to be called as tuli than tunarungu. I hope that we can respect their choice about whether they want to be called tunarungu, tuli, or difabel and engage in diversity. And also, we have to eliminate the negative stigma. And I hope Indonesia can be inclusive, like giving interpreter in DP, giving running text, and we need to engage more learning about disability, share again disability awareness to others. That's my presentation. Thank you.